want you to say just what I say. You ready? Say just what I say. Just what I say. Do it again. Do it again. Oh, you guys are good. You guys are good. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. I said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. I said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One more time. One more time. But higher. Higher. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One more time. One more time.
One lower. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One more time. One more time.
But faster. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. One more time. But louder. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-boom. Said a boom, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-rock-a, chick-a-boom. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. One more time.
Good evening and welcome to Dead Air Live. We have a very special show tonight called Stories and Stuff. And in the studio with us we have a whole bunch of guests who are going to be both telling stories and listening to stories. Our first guest is Val Tutson, who recently, actually yesterday, graduated from Brown University with a master's degree in drama and theater arts. Val has been telling stories for more than 7 years, and she's been a guest at various storytelling shows all over the country, and has also spent time in South Africa as well as Zimbabwe telling stories. And she's going to be with us tonight telling both African and Afro-American folk tales. We also have a bunch of other people in the audience tonight who are going to be audience, and I want to introduce each of them one by one.
Did you know I put fake boogers on you?
Can you tell us what your name is?
My name is Malika Graham Bailey.
Okay, and where do you come from?
Chicago.
Can you let her talk for herself? You get to talk in a minute.
Chicago. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and I moved here from Oxford, Mississippi.
Okay, great. What's your name?
I saw Chicago. I said Chicago.
I'm sorry, say it one more time. We got a loud guy over here.
Emma Cott.
Emma?
Yeah.
And where do you come from?
I come from Boston.
And what grade are you in?
Fifth.
Fifth grade.
All
Okay.
right,
What's your
good.
name?
My name is Trevor. I'm in the third grade.
And in Boston?
Trevor Sirwalk.
No,
lives
I'm
in
in,
Boston and Hungary.
I come from Cambridge.
Okay. How about you? What's your name?
My name is Daniel, and I live in Boston, and I'm in 4th grade.
All right. How about you? Yeah, you. What's your name?
Roby,
Roby? From where?
Chicago, and I moved from from Mississippi to Boston.
Okay. How old are you, Roby?
And I'm
7.
from Mississippi.
7 years old?
Weber Street.
Okay. You know what? You get to talk now. What's your name?
Ramsey, I'm his brother. That guy's brother. And there's
That
my
guy.
dad looking at the TV.
Okay. How old are you, Ramsey?
6.
6 years old.
He's
Okay.
8.
Okay. Can you tell us what your name is?
Elena Barnes-Nessa.
Okay.
Okay. And you come from where?
Boston.
And how old are you?
10.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn the show
I
now
guess that
over
you were
to
10 and
not
you were
our
9.
guests sitting here on the floor, though some of them would like to take charge of that, but to Val Tutson, our guest storyteller.
All right, great.
Ramsey, I can tell that you are ready for some stories. Is everybody else ready for some stories tonight?
Yes.
You are? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I thought before I started with a story that I'd just ask a quick question. And maybe,
Hey, you guys, you need to stay still,
get
all right?
comfortable, Ramsey, so that you're, cozy, because you're going to have to help
Ramsey.
out on this one. Okay? Now, first of all, I wanted to ask, who is it that tells stories? Who tells stories? Me! I tell stories. Who else tells stories?
Me.
You tell stories.
You can leave.
You do. Where do you tell stories, Ramsey?
Tobin, where I come from, after school, home.
Okay, after school home, and I know Malika tells stories because I heard her tell.
Anyway.
Anybody else tell stories? Do you, Daniel? You do. Sometimes, sort of, sometimes. Now tell me something else. Tell me, if you can, why people tell stories.
Because they want to make up kind of silly stories.
They want to make up kind of silly stories. Why else?
So they can pass,
Okay,
like,
what?
so that they're like the children and
That's
the
okay
grandchildren
like that.
can hear the stories and they can like have
You need to be quiet, though, all right?
That's right. That's right. And did you know that before we had, of course, television, there was the story? Before we had movies, there was the story. Before there was school and teachers and books, there was the story. And people told stories for fun and to pass things on, as you said. And I thought it might be fun. Oh, people also told stories to explain why things are the way they are. And I thought that the first story that I would tell you today is a story that I learned when I was in South Africa. And it's a story of why the turtle has a patched back. Did you ever wonder why the turtle has a patched back?
Yes.
You did? Oh, good. Well, I just happen to know the story of why that's so. Now, I'm going to need your help in this story, and this is what you need to do. All right? Now, what do we say when we're getting ready for a race?
Market, set, go.
Right. On your mark, get set, go. Only in this story, we don't say on your mark, get set, go. We say, ready, steady, go! All right, you guys try it. You ready? Ready, steady, go! Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, yeah. Only we're not going to be running in the story. We're going to be flying. So you might even want to put your arms up like this because we're going to be birds on this race and we're going to be going up to heaven. You can be a hawk. In fact, there's another part of the story, and I'm glad you said that because I need names of birds. So you want to be a hawk? Anybody?
I want to be an eagle.
You want to be
hawk too.
You want to be a hawk too? Anybody else got some names of birds? What do you want to be, Trevor?
Wait.
An eagle. That would be great. Who else? Anybody else?
Come here.
Well, if you think of something when we get to that part of the story. A swan? You want to be a swan?
I'm going to have to hold on.
Great. Yeah, but that would be okay. Maybe the swan could go too. Here's how the story goes. Now, a long time ago, you didn't have to die in order to go to heaven. No. You could go to heaven by invitation. An invitation would come in the mail just like to a birthday party. The invitation would say, let's see, to all the fourth graders, you are invited to a party up in heaven. And all the fourth graders would gather together and they'd make up their plans and they'd go to this party up in heaven. Well, on this particular day, the invitation, well, that's a tricky thing, isn't it? Well, on this day, the invitation went to all the birds of the air. And all of the birds gathered together, and they were making their plans to fly up to heaven, and they were talking about what they were going to take, and they were talking about the food and how much fun it was going to be. And Turtle heard all of this. And Turtle wanted to go to the party. So while all the birds were together in the middle of the room, Turtle started sneaking around outside, and he was mumbling to himself, oh, I wish I could go to the party up in heaven. Oh, how can I go to the party? And he was making so much noise that the birds heard him. Shh! I think there's an imposter in our midst. And they all turned and they looked, and there was Turtle. Turtle, they said, come here. And Turtle came over, right into the middle of all the birds. Turtle, what are you doing here? Well, I just wanted to go to this party up in heaven. I know you're going to the party, and I know there's going to be all kinds of good food, and the angels will be playing music, and there will be dancing. Please, couldn't I go to the party with you? Pretty please, with sugar on top. Please, 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 I want to go. The birds looked at the turtle and they said, no, of course you cannot go to this party up in heaven. What do you think? You are a turtle. The invitation says to all the birds of the air.
If we were to bring you, it would be an insult to God. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to stay. Oh, but I just want to go. You don't even have to take me inside. I'll just stay outside the gates and I'll sit on a cloud and I'll just sniff at the food and listen to the music and dance by myself. Please, could I go with you? Pretty please, pretty please. Oh, please, 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 please. Well, the birds discussed it, and they debated it, and they discussed it, and they debated it. And finally, one of the birds said, but Turtle can't go. Turtle doesn't have any wings. Turtle can't fly up to heaven. But there was a kind-hearted bird in the bunch. And this kind-hearted bird said, oh, come on, you guys. We could each take one of our feathers and stick it on Turtle's back. What do you say? Oh, sure. And how are we going to stick it on Turtle's back, huh? Well, we'll get some glue. Do you think that sounds like a good idea? Well, I'll tell you something. Those birds discussed it and they debated, they discussed it and they debated, and finally they said, okay, we'll do it. Somebody went to the store and got some glue, and there was Turtle in the middle, and they covered his back, which was a smooth, shiny shell at that time. They put glue all over, and then each and every one took one of their feathers and stuck it into that glue. When they finished, he was a funny-looking turtle, I can tell you. He had long, skinny feathers and little short ones and fat ones and all different colored feathers. But he was ready to go. Okay, you guys, I'm ready, it's almost time, let's go. And all of the birds lined up. They made a long, long line, and Turtle was right in the middle. And they checked their watch. They said, uh-oh, party is pretty soon, starts at 8:30, we better get going. And so, one of the birds, all of the birds, said together what they said for the race. Ready, steady, go! Ooh, and off they went, yes, flying just like you. And when Turtle, do you think he got off the ground? I have to tell you, Turtle couldn't get off the ground. He was jumping and jumping, and he said, wait a minute, you guys, help, I can't get my feet off the ground. And so those birds had to fly back down, and they went right underneath Turtle, and they helped him up. And pretty soon, why, he was flying like a pro. He was flying with the best of them. And Turtle said, hey, you guys, when we get up to heaven, how about if I introduce everybody to the angels and to God? What do you want me to tell them your name is? And one by one, the birds started to tell Turtle what their names were. You remember, what did you say your name was, bird? Ramsey. Ramsey.
You can call me RS.
For short, we'll call you RS. Okay. And Turtle said, when I get up there, I will tell Angel and God that you are Ramsey, RS for short. And one by one, the birds named themselves. And somebody said, I want to be Swan. And somebody else said, I want to be Eagle. And somebody else said, I want to be Falcon. And somebody else said, I want to be Blackbird. I want to be Raven.
I want to be Freddie.
You want to be Freddie. You want to be Hawk. That's right. And when everybody had finished naming themselves, Turtle said, okay. And when I get up to heaven, I will tell God and the angels that my name is all of them. All of them. What a strange name for a bird, or a turtle who wants to be a bird. But if that's what you want to be called, you shall be all of them. Well, they finished their flight, and they landed on a cloud just outside the pearly gates. And Turtle went right up and rang the bell. Ding dong. The gates opened, and in went the turtle and the birds into this great big banquet hall. Oh my goodness, you have never seen such a feast in all of your life. Over here they had tables of chips and dip, Fritos, Doritos, all kinds of good things. And right next to that they had some celery and some cucumbers and some tomatoes for the healthy people. And then they had a big bowl of salad and fresh rolls. And then they had another table full of cheese pizza and another one with pepperoni pizza. And they had grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. And then, oh my goodness, what they had for dessert. cookies and cream ice cream. They had Oreos. They had oatmeal cookies with and without raisins. They had ice cream. They had hot fudge sundaes. They had chocolate cake. They had cheesecake. Everything you could imagine they had. And all around the outside of the room, they had fountains and fountains of soda and juice and sparkling cider, and they had milk even. They had regular milk and 2% milk and low-fat milk and coffee milk. Anything you wanted they had, and those little birds could not wait to start to eat. Ooh, but you know, if you go to a party, you can't just dive into the food. That would be pretty rude, right? So they waited for Turtle to make the introductions. And Turtle did that. And when Turtle was finished, Turtle turned to one of the angels who was acting as a waiter for the day and said, "Excuse me, could you tell me who all of this food is for?" And the angel said, "Why, of course. This food is for all of them." "All of them," said Turtle. "That's my name. My name is all of them. This food is for me. I'll just help myself." And he picked up his plate and he went right over to the chips and he put a whole bunch on his plate. He ate and he ate, and then he went to the celery and the cucumbers and the tomatoes, and he ate and he ate, and he went to the salad and he went to the, what else? What else was there? The chips. He finished on the chips. He ate the fresh rolls. He ate through the pizza, cheese, and pepperoni. He went to the grilled cheese, washed it down with tomato soup, headed over to the dessert and found some fruit, that he hadn't noticed before, ate the fruit, washed it all down with soda and milk and juice. Oh, he ate until he couldn't eat another bite. He sat down at the table and he said, "You guys can help yourselves." And so the little birds picked up their plates, and the big birds picked up their plates too, and they all went over and they went to the chips, and you're right, there was no more left. And so they went to the next table where the cucumbers were, and they no more left. And they went to the salad, and it was all gone, and they went to the fresh rolls, and they were all gone, and the pizza was gone, and the grilled cheese was gone, and the cheesecake was gone, and the cookies and cream, everything was gone. All that was left was some pizza crust and some banana peels, and those birds were mad. Ooh, those birds were so mad that they got in one long line, one behind the other, and they marched right up to that turtle who was sitting there like, they said, "Turtle, you've ruined our party." "Oh, what are you guys talking about? This is a great party. Food is great." "Yeah, it might be great, but you ate it all." And one by one, those birds started to pluck those feathers right off of that turtle's back until it was nothing left but a bare, naked shell. And then those birds turned right around and they went out through those gates and they flew back down to earth. Oh, Turtle, he got up from the table and he ran to the gates and he looked down and he said, "Wait a minute, you guys. You took my feathers. How am I going to get home?" And that kind-hearted bird said just what you did. He wasn't feeling so kind this time. He looked up, he said, "Jump." Now, I don't know if you have ever stood at the edge of the clouds and looked down to earth. It's about this big. Turtle was afraid if he jumped, he might miss it. So he went back inside and he asked the angel, "Please, could I stay for the next party?" And the angel said, "Well, let's see. Nope, I'm sorry. The giraffes are coming in about an hour and a half. And let's see, turtles aren't due until a week from Friday. You're going to have to go." "All right," said Turtle. "Thanks very much." And he walked out those gates. And he went to the edge of the cloud. And he looked down at the earth. And he said, "All right, okay, on the count of 3, I'll jump. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 5/6, 2 7/8, 2 9/10. Okay. 3. It was like being on a roller coaster, but this was never ending. And all of the people down below heard this noise coming from up above, and they looked up and they could see this thing spiraling down. Boom!
Turtle was dead.
Well, they weren't sure, but he sure was flat on his back. His shell was smashed into 100,000 million billion pieces. He was a mess. Somebody said, uh-oh. Somebody better go get Turtle's wife. So somebody ran and got Turtle's wife, and she pushed through the crowd, and she saw Turtle there in a mess on the ground, and she said, honey, what happened? And Turtle looked up at his wife, and he said, boom, yeah, boom. She said, oh, my dear, that's tragic. Let me help you out. So she went back home and she got some glue, and she came back and she sat down next to Turtle, and she helped him patch his shell back together. And ever since that day, the turtle has had a patched back. And that's a story from South Africa. That's it. That's it for that story.
Okay, I
Just
have a story.
You do? Well, let's save it in a little while, all right? Okay? Yeah?
I want some commercials.
Sure.
Up in the clouds, did you say that the waiter, he went up to the waiter, he went up to God, or did he go up to the angel?
He went up to an angel.
Why didn't you say God?
Well, he could have gone and talked to God, but the angels were acting as the waiters, and they were the hosts too. So they were the ones who kept the record.
Owner.
God was the owner. That's right, and that was God's house. But God had people working there.
So are animal stories common African folk tales?
Oh yes, actually, animal stories are pretty common anywhere you go. Anywhere at all. But animal stories are real good when you're talking about explaining why things are the way they are in different cultures. And they're a lot of fun because we see in people the animals. People and animals are not all that different. Did you know that? In fact, maybe I ought to tell us. Well, okay, we could do a quick story in a couple of minutes. But in fact, this might be a good time to talk about getting ready to show the tape.
Okay.
Because that's an animal story, and it's a monkey story, and it's a story that comes from Haiti, although you can also find a version of it in Africa, and it's a story about misery and a monkey. So maybe.
Why don't we go to that tape now?
Okay, that'd be great.
And we'll be back in the studio after that tape.
Okay. Once there was a monkey who was always being chased by dogs. He always had to run to the top of a tree to catch his breath while those dogs ran around below. Now one day, he was up there catching his breath when he heard a sound coming down the road. It sounded something like, hi, hi, I go to the market, hi, hi, to the market go I. He liked the sound of that, and so he looked, and he could see a woman coming down the road with a calabash on her head. Now, a calabash is an awful lot like a great big salad bowl, and in this calabash she had honey, which she was going to take to the marketplace. And she didn't have a radio or a Walkman or anybody to keep her company, so she was singing, hi, hi, I go
go to the market. Hi, hi, to the market go I. Hi, hi, I go to the market. Hi, hi, to the market go I. Well, let me tell you, the monkey liked the sound of that song, and he started to hum along. He started to move up and down on that branch. Hi, hi, I go to the market. Hi, hi, to the market go I. Hi, hi, I go to the market. Hi, hi, to the market go I. He was having so much fun that the branch started to go lower and lower and lower. And the woman was coming closer and closer and closer, and they were both singing at the top of their voices when she walked underneath the tree and the branch broke, knocked that calabash right off of her head. The honey went everywhere. She looked at that ooey gooey sticky mess and she said, "Oh, misery! Papa God, what have you done?" And then, because she had nothing left to sell at the marketplace, she turned around and went home. But that monkey, he saw that ooey gooey sticky mess and he wanted to know what this misery could be, so he looked at it and then he sniffed at it, and when he was sure no one was looking, he took 2 fingers and he tasted it. Ooh! That misery was so sweet! He wanted more, so he ate it all up. And when his belly was full, he had to think of a plan. He said, "I know. I'll go see Papa God, and then I'll get more misery. That's what I'll do." And so he put on his best clothes, and he put a part in his hair, and he shined his shoes, and he brushed his teeth, and off he went to Papa God's house. And when he got to the house, he knocked on the door. And a voice said, "Come in." And so the monkey pushed open the door, and there inside he saw Papa God and Mama God. "Hello, Papa God," he said. Hello, Mama God." "Hello, monkey," they said. He said, "I have tasted misery, and it is so sweet. Could I please have some more?" Papa God looked at Mama God, and Mama God looked at Papa God, and they both looked at the monkey. Mama God said, "Are you sure that it's misery that you've tasted?" "Oh, yes, I'm sure. Oh, it's sweet. More, please." So Mama God looked at Papa God, and Papa God looked at Mama God, and Papa God said, "If you're sure that it's misery that you want, look in that corner over there." The monkey turned his head, and there in the corner was a great big sack. His mouth started to water just looking at it. Papa God said, "Do you see the sack?" He said, "Yes, I do." Papa God said, "You want misery? You take that sack, you put it on your back, and you take it far from all of the people and far from all of the trees. When you're all alone, open up that sack. You'll have all the misery you could want." "Oh, thank you, Papa God," said the monkey. "Thank you, Mama God." And he went over to the corner, and he picked up that sack, and he put it on his back. He said, "Goodbye to the gods," and then he walked outside. He walked far from all of the people, and far from all of the trees and all of the buildings, until he came to a great big open field. And when he got to the field, he put that sack down on the ground, and he took one more look around. He was alone, and so he opened up that sack and he stuck his head inside. He heard, "Ruff, ruff, 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 ruff." Out came 7 dogs. They started to chase that poor monkey who ran for his life. "Oh, Papa God! Oh, Mama God! Oh, Papa God!" And those dogs were coming. He thought he was dead, and so he bent down to pray, and when he opened his eyes again, there was a great big tree, and he went straight to the top and caught his breath on the branch while those dogs chased around down below. Well, you see, it was Papa God and Mama God sent the tree to the monkey because they know that too much misery is never very sweet.
Hi, welcome back to the studio. We are back in the studio, you guys. Okay, we've been watching the tape here, and I'd like to ask some of our audience what you guys thought of the story you just heard. What'd you think of that story?
Good.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was
How come?
awesome.
Awesome, dude. Do you want to tell us why you liked it, or what you liked about it?
Well, it was really interesting, and it wasn't like any regular story. Something that I wouldn't really thought of.
How was it different? Can you tell how it was different from other stories?
Well, I don't know. It was just, well, some stories just, I liked the way that this story had, like the angels and things, and most other stories just take place on the earth.
Okay. All right. How about you? What did you think about that story?
It was
Awesome.
exciting,
Yeah.
good.
He was about to say awesome.
What'd you guys think back there? Have you ever heard a story like that before?
I thought that it was better than some stories. It was kind of exciting and didn't take place on Earth, and it was not all just one thing. It took different parts.
All right. Great. So we're gonna hear some more stories throughout the show because we have about half an hour left. We're gonna hear a whole bunch more stories. So why don't we go back to Val now for another one?
Can I tell the story now?
Well, maybe in a little while, okay, Ramsey? I thought that actually you guys could help me tell this one. The story that they just showed on the tape is one that comes from Haiti, as I explained before, and it has versions found in Africa. And Haiti is in the Caribbean. And I thought that I would share a story with you that comes from the Caribbean. It comes from Antigua, and it's a story that I learned from a woman who grew up singing and telling this story. And one of the reasons I like it is because there's a song in it, and I think you'll pick it up very quickly. And it goes like this. Once there was a woman who loved fish more than anything else in the world. This woman would save her money so that she would have plenty to go to the marketplace and buy some fish. Well, one day when she was to eat, because she loved to eat fish, one day when she was going to the marketplace, there on the side of the road, she saw a great, big, juicy fish. Oh, yes, and when she saw that, oh, she could not wait to pick it up and take it home and cook it. And you know what else? She knew she would save her money, so that's just what she did. She picked up that fish and she took it home. But you know, you can't just cook a fish, and you can't just eat a fish. There are some things that you have to do first. Do you know what you have to do first? You have to cut it. And what do you call it when you're cutting it?
You have to take the scales off
You
and take the
skin,
guts out.
and yes, you have to skin the fish first. So this woman got a long knife for skinning the fish, and she started to skin the fish, and as soon as she did, the fish started to sing. Skin me good, mama, skin me good. Skin me good, mama, skin me good. Skin me good, mama, skin me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. Well, this woman had never seen or heard a singing fish before, but it was too big and too delicious looking for her to worry about that. So after she skinned the fish, she cut off the head, she cut off the tail, and she started to pull those guts out. And while she was gutting the fish started to sing. You know what he was singing, don't you? Gut me good, mama, gut me good. Sing with me. Gut me good, mama, gut me good. Gut me good, mama, gut me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. Well, after that fish was all gutted, she got a pan and she put it in the pan, and she was almost ready to cook it, but not quite, because she wanted to make sure the fish would taste delicious. So she got her very best spices and she started to season the fish. And while she was seasoning the fish, you're right, he started singing. You know what he was singing? Season me good, mama, season me good. Season me good, mama, season me good. Season me good, mama, season me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. Well, after that fish was all seasoned, she opened up the oven and she put that fish right inside and she closed the door and the fish... Why was it singing? What was it doing in there besides? You got it. Yes, Malika. But it was in the oven, so it sounded like this. Cook me good, mama, cook me good. Cook me good, mama, cook me good. Cook me good, mama, cook me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. She let that fish cook until it was nice and tender. Then she opened up that oven and she took it out and she put it on the table and she got a plate and she sat down and she started to eat. And when she started to eat, that fish started to sing. And that fish was singing what? Eat me good, mama, eat me good. Eat me good, mama, eat me good. Eat me good, mama, eat me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. Now, you might remember that I told you it was a big fish, right? Well, this woman had a bigger appetite. She ate the whole thing. It was in her belly. And she got a little bit sleepy. And as soon as her eyes closed, she heard something. Coming from her belly. The fish was singing. You think what? Digest. You think the fish was singing digest me good?
Yeah.
Shall we try it?
No.
Let's try it.
What was it?
Oh, I'm not telling you. Let's try it. Digest me good, mama, digest me good. Digest me good, mama, digest me good. Digest me good, mama, digest me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. And Malika, that was a good guess, but not what the fish was singing. Anybody else want to make another guess what the fish was singing? What do you think?
Just singing Gerald.
Just singing Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. A good guess, but no, that's not what the fish was singing.
Come on, tell us.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
You don't want to guess? Are you sure?
Yes.
Anybody got a guess?
Swallow.
Swallow? Swallow me good? Shall we try it? Let's try it. Swallow me good, mama, swallow me good. Swallow me good, mama, swallow me good. Swallow me good, mama, swallow me good. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. That's a good guess, but not what the fish was singing. You want to make another guess?
No.
You want me to tell you what the fish was singing?
Yes.
All right. Deep in the woman's belly, the fish was singing. Dig your grave, mama, dig your grave. Dig your grave, mama, dig your grave. Dig your grave, mama, dig your grave. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. So if you're walking along the road and you see a spirit fish, be very careful. You might want to go to the marketplace and spend your money. That's the story from Antigua.
So in Antigua or in traditional societies, who would be telling those stories?
Well, that's the kind of story that I think just about anybody told, because that was a story for fun, for entertainment. And although this woman who was telling it now works she's collecting stories from the people there who tell that. But that's a kind of just a general entertainment story.
So would there be somebody in a traditional society whose job it is to be a storyteller and to entertain people?
Sure. Although the storyteller, in addition to entertaining people, was also the one to educate people, to pass on the stories, and in some places was called Dieli on the west coast of Africa by the Soninke tribe, which means blood. That is also the word for storyteller. And griot is a word that we think of a lot of times when we're talking about African storytelling. The griot was the person who passed on the song and the stories usually through music and passed on the history. In European traditions, the troubadour or the trouveur, the bard, song and story mixed together, which is why I like that story too that I just told. Mm-hmm.
Dig her grave.
Well,
She would die after.
what do you think?
Yes.
You think she dug her grave? And then what do you think the fish told her to do? You think the fish then said, jump in the grave, mama, jump in the... Don't fall in the grave? Fall in the grave, mama, fall in the grave. Fall in the grave, mama, fall in the grave. Fall in the grave, mama, fall in the grave. I am Gerald, 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 fish of the spirit. And after she fell in the grave, what do you think the fish told her to do? Bury, yeah, no. So you could tell.
In a louder voice. But tell other people to bury her.
You think he told the other people to bury her, and then the dirt, and you think people came and buried her, and then what do you think happened?
She became a spirit.
She became a spirit. Oh,
Spirit,
no.
I like that. And then a ghost, and then what?
Dead.
And then dead.
No. It starts singing like, rot your bones, something like that.
Rot your bones, or maybe rise your bones, mama, rise your bones. Rise your bones, mama.
Was it an old woman?
Oh, she was not too old. She was about 73. Pretty young still. But you see how that story works? You could just go on and on and on and make a verse and verse and verse after. Was it a blonde? Oh no. She was a brown-skinned woman with dark hair and big dark eyes.
Either black or dark brown.
Black or dark brown. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought that I would tell you another story.
How about us telling you stories?
Well, we can let you do that in a couple of minutes, all right?
I already said that.
I know. Minute after minute, just ticking by. But I think you might like this story. Are you ready? It's actually, you know why you might like this, Ramsey? Because this is about two boys. Brothers, in fact. Mm-hmm.
Do you know anyone like that, Ramsey?
You know anybody?
Just me and him.
You and him? Okay, you got a brother?
maybe
Him and Ramsey.
How about a sister? You got a sister. Uh-huh. How about you, Elena?
I have a sister.
You have a sister? How about you, Emma? You have a brother. I have a brother, too. So, but this particular story is two boys, and it goes like this.
I have a brother.
You have.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Uh-oh. Can you hold it? Wait till after the story, okay?
No, I can go now.
Hang on. Goes like this. You ready? Once, there was a woman who had two sons. She and the boys lived in a house near the dismal swamp. Now, this woman had a husband who had been away at war, and while he was away, he took sick, and he came home to die. And when he was on his deathbed, he called the two boys into the room, and he said, "Boys, I don't have much longer for this world. And so before I go, I want to pass on some wisdom to you. I want you to promise me that you will always work hard, that you will never sass your mama. That means that you won't ever talk back to your mother, that you will always do everything she says, that you will never go near the dismal swamp. And if you boys do all these things, you'll never, ever have to worry about.
And he died.
You're right. He died.
Me?
No, the father, he didn't finish what he was saying. The two boys looked at each other and they wanted to know, well, what is it that we won't have to worry about? And they started to ask their mother, but she was crying. And the next thing they knew, there was a funeral in the house and the neighbors were there and there was food and there were all kinds of things. It was crazy for 3 days. But finally, after those 3 days, the boys finally had time alone with their mother. And they sat down in the living room. And one of the boys started a fire in the fireplace, the older one did, and the younger one got his mother some tea. And then he asked his mother, Mama, what did Daddy mean when he said those things? And his mother said, what do you mean, what did Daddy mean? He meant what he said. He said for you boys to work hard, don't sass your mama. Did he tell you to pay respect to old people? If he didn't, I'm going to tell you that. Pay respect to old people and stay away from the swamp. That's what he said, that's what he meant. Now you boys go on upstairs to bed. Well, those boys went upstairs. And see, they didn't know that their mother had a lot on her mind, like how was she going to get a job to feed those boys and put food on the table and clothes on their backs. She was worried about that. Those boys were thinking up in their room, well, maybe if we do those things, maybe we'll get a good car when we get to be 16. We'll go to a good college. We'll get a great education. Maybe we could grow up to be president of the United States and travel all around the world. Maybe that's what Daddy meant when he said those things. Yeah. And they thought about that. It made them feel good for a long time. And they remembered those words. And their mama did get a job. She got a job making baskets in town from the reeds, from the dismal swamp. And those boys, because their mother went to work, they had to do a lot of work around the house. They had to do the dishes, take out the garbage, and the thing they had to do and the thing they hated the most was they had to take care of the garden. Oh, they hated that garden. It was a big garden. They could not stand it. Year after year, they took care of this garden, and the years passed, so the boys forgot what their father had said. They even forgot what he looked like almost. There they were, almost, 12 years old, just about, working in the garden on a hot summer day. And while they were working in the garden, picking those tomatoes and cucumbers and pulling those weeds and watering the garden, they said, oh, forget this. If Mom wants somebody to work in this garden, she can hire somebody. I quit. I'm sick of doing this work. Everybody else is swimming and riding bikes. I don't want to work in this garden anymore. Do you? The other brother said, no, I don't. Well, let's forget this. And they picked up the tomatoes and they started to play catch. They started to run around that garden. Oh, they were having a good time when they smelled something coming down the road. Ooh, what's that smell? They wanted to know, and they looked. And there, coming down the road, was the oldest, dirtiest, smelliest, grimiest old man you have ever seen in your life. And ooh, did he smell? His smell got there way before he did. Ooh, he came right up and his hands were out. And he went right up to those boys and he said, please, could I have 1 or 2 of those tomatoes that you guys are just throwing around? Oh, you stink up, man. You better get out of here. Oh, God, don't you know what water is? Take a shower. Oh, please, just a tomato. I'm so hungry. No, we don't give out free food here. What do you think this is, a charity case? You want some food? You get a job and earn some money, you bum. Here, and take a shower while you're at it. You need some help? Woo-hoo. One of the boys picked up the hose and started to hose that man up and down. Woo-hoo, he was all wet. Look at you look so ridiculous. Get out of here. The old man started to turn around and walk, and the other brother said, here, let me help you. And he picked up his watering can and he threw it right at that old man, hit him right in the shoulder. The old man said, all right, I'm going. I'm sorry to bother you. And he went down the road. Well, those boys were so proud of themselves, they could not wait until their mother came home. When she came home, they all sat down to dinner and they ate. And after they finished eating, the boys told them what they had done. Hey, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but we were out in the garden and this smelly old man came and, ooh, did he stink, and he was begging for some food. But we told him, we don't give to beggars around here. Nothing, no way. If he wants some food, he should go make some money and buy it himself. They told her the whole story, and they thought that she'd be proud. She wasn't. In fact, when those boys finished, she looked at them and she said, now, boys, with all the food we have growing in that garden, why didn't you give that old man 1 or 2 tomatoes? What do you mean, why didn't we give him 1 or 2 tomatoes? We work for this, and we work hard. We don't give away what we do. And you know what else, Mom? I am sick and tired of working in this garden. You want somebody to work in the garden? You hire somebody. In fact, why don't you hire that old man? Because I quit. Yeah, me too. That's what the other brother said. Their mother looked right at him. She said, you boys go upstairs. Yes, ma'am. Those boys went upstairs and they waited in their room. And their mother went out the front door and she stood underneath this tree that had these long, thin branches which were better than a wooden spoon for spankings. Those boys knew that they were in trouble, and they decided right then and there that they were too old to get a spanking from their mama anymore. So while their mama was out in the front, those boys sneaked down the back stairs and they went running out the back door. Ooh, they ran and they ran and they ran and they ran until they couldn't run anymore and they weren't sure where they were. It was so dark, and they started to walk, and next thing they knew, they were in water, up to their knees. They were in the dismal swamp.
Ew.
Oh no.
What is it like?
Oh, what is it like? It is so dark, and there are all these sounds, just kind of scary sounds in the night. You can hear your heartbeat. That's how scary it is. And their hearts were going, boop, 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 boop. Are you scared? No, I'm not scared. Are you? No, I'm not scared. Come on, let's try to find dry ground. The boys started to try to feel around for dry ground, and they thought they found it. But it wasn't dry ground at all. It was quicksand. And those boys started to sink lower and lower and lower into the quicksand. They were sure they were going to die when all of a sudden something came out of the darkness and wrapped around them. It was a rope, and it was right around their chests, and something was pulling them out of the quicksand. Oh, they were dragged right out of the quicksand, and they were dragged through the water. And then they were on the ground, and they looked to see who was holding the other end of the rope, but they couldn't see anything. All they could hear was a voice saying, work hard. Don't ever sass your mama. That means don't talk back to your mother ever, 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 ever. Pay respect to all old folks. Stay away from the dismal swamp, and if you do all these things, you never ever have to worry about the boogeyman.
Oh, God.
And those two boys, they say those two boys were never seen again.
What happened to him?
I don't know. What do you think?
He died.
You think the boogeyman got? Do you think it was the?
He is ugly.
You think so?
He has an ugly face, like high heels, high shoes on.
High shoes,
Really?
good for walking through the swamp.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I know. Boogeyman has boogies coming down.
That's why he's called the boogeyman, right? Little streaks of hair. Does he have a, what?
He wears
Ramsey,
shorts.
have
He
you
wears
remember
shorts?
on the Ghostbusters? When the boogeyman came in Ghostbusters.
With little red hearts and black and white. Little.
And he has his cool jacket on walking through the city.
He does? I've never seen this boogeyman. I've never seen this boogeyman.
Stripe going up like a little rip.
Well, I think, you guys, that we're just about out of time for me, all right? And I want to thank you for letting me share stories with you. I should tell you that that story comes from a woman who was a third-grade teacher once named Alice McGill, and she's a neat woman.
Now can I go?
And you can just about go to the bathroom. So I want to thank you again for sharing the stories with me, and hope that you'll take the stories with you and tell your friends. All right?
Okay.
You've been great.
Thanks very much, Val. It looks like we got one more question. Go ahead.
What do you mean like it's time for you to go?
Well, what do I mean? I got to go back to where I live. I live
I
in.
know it's just time for you to go. We stay.
Well, do you want to stay?
Well,
Or you want to go?
You just like said it's time for me to go.
Oh. Well, I guess it's probably time for all of us to go.
I'm afraid it is going to be just about time for all of us to go. But when you guys get home, you can watch this on TV, because I'm going to make tapes for all of you guys to watch. All right.
All right.
And you can watch yourselves, and you can watch
Great.
Val.
What
So-
you're gonna make tapes for us and give them to us?
Yeah, but I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. But I'm going to make the tape of what we just all did here tonight, so you guys can have for yourselves. All right. So I'm going to sign off now. Thanks very much for being with us with Val Tutson and Stories and Stuff. I'm Mark Lurie for Dead Air Live. Join us again this time next week. Good night.
Yeah.